8th season in the National Football League. Friend of the program, I would like to call him Harrison Smith. How are you, Harrison?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on, Rich.
Yeah, I kind of ragged on Rudy before, Harrison. Full disclosure. I'm sorry.
I heard.
Did you hear it?
I heard the tail end.
Tell me, when you go to Notre Dame, what do they tell you about Rudy? Seriously, Harrison, come on. Let's put all the cards on the table here. When you show up on the campus there, what do they tell you about Rudy officially?
I think it's different for every person. Like Rudy came and talked to us.
Okay.
When I was like a freshman or sophomore.
Okay.
So we heard about how awesome the story was. But growing up, I wasn't a Notre Dame fan, so I hated the movie, to be honest. At the time, I shouldn't say that now. I've converted over.
Of course.
But,
no, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
But I was in your boat when I was growing up.
Yeah, Harrison, because, you don't own – Notre Dame doesn't own – college greatness or the tingly feeling you get when there's an underdog story. That's not, you don't have ownership of that, Harrison. You know what I'm saying?
No, but I think it's a great contributor, I don't think anyone claims to own it, but, it's a great underdog story.
It is. It's that.
Got Vince Vaughn in his early days.
By the way, and John
Favreau.
Yeah, John Favreau. I mean, this is pre-swingers Favreau and Vince Vaughn. I agree with you. So did Rudy really get carried off the field, though, Harrison? Like, for real? Carried off the field?
I don't know. I cannot confirm that. One of my buddy's dads was in school at the time.
Yes.
And he said that they didn't even, like, when they, you hear the Rudy chant in the movie and everyone's
right.
Rudy, he said they didn't even know what they were saying. So,
okay.
I think it's different depending on who you ask how serious that moment was.
Maybe they were saying boo. They weren't saying Rudy. They were saying boo.
Potentially. You never know. Things get glorified over time.
See, Harrison, that's part of the reason why I love having you on this show is this is real talk. I mean, it's about a movie. This is real talk as far as I'm concerned. This is real talk. Okay. Now, what's going on with this Vikings team, Harrison Smith? Walk me through what a feeling is. 8th season in the NFL. So many hopes for a team that does have a roster that is considered Super Bowl worthy, Harrison. Walk me through this right now.
Just the feeling around the facilities and the work we're putting in and stuff.
Yeah.
Like you said, we do have a lot of familiar faces, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So I think, that's a good thing. And then that's also something that we have to keep pushing each other to not say, okay, we've been pretty good for a few years. We're just going to be, we're going to be pretty good again. No, we need to kind of take it to the next level. And we're competing against the offense, and they're doing some really good things. So it's good to see a lot of, just a lot of the schemes that they're putting together, and we got a ton of playmakers over there. A lot of confidence in the coaches and the quarterback. So I think we're excited. The same thing you're going to hear from any guy talking about his own team. I'm going to be biased, but I really do believe that about the type of guys we have, the type of coaches we have, and what is possible. We still have to put in the work and make the plays when it counts.
Okay, so what's more real, the Vikings Super Bowl chances or Rudy got carried off the field years ago, Harrison? What do you?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I really got to leave my Notre Dame days in the past.
Yeah, I know that. You
focus on the present and go with the Vikings.
Yes, the present and the future. What last year 8-7-1? What could you point to last year that you say this year's going to be different because we're better at that? I mean, what went down last year? After
you played a few years, you figure out being a playoff team to not being a playoff team is literally one play here or there. If we beat Green Bay instead of time last year, like we're already in the playoffs. If we make a play in another game, we're in the playoffs. And we didn't make those plays, so we're not a playoff team. You can say if we did this, then that, but it doesn't matter. So the difference is when you're one of the better teams and you're not, is normally not a huge margin. It's winning when it matters most, and that's what we didn't do last year. So going forward, that's what we put a lot of emphasis on, is those situations 2 minutes at the end of the first half or at the end of the game, or the turnover differentials, special teams, hidden yardage there, all those small things that maybe people, or not small things, but they seem small, really determine the outcome of games, which determines if you're in the playoffs or not.
Harrison Smith, 4-time Pro Bowl Viking safety here on the Rich Eisen Show. Your work in the secondary, Harrison, is going to be reviewable by instant replay this year when it comes to pass interference. Your thoughts on that development here?
I don't have a ton of thoughts on it yet. Last year it was the roughing the passer deal, and that kind of, it seemed a little crazy early on, and then it kind of got ironed out. So that's kind of what I'm just expecting for everything going forward. I definitely don't like the idea, but I'm sure they'll figure it out. What do you think about it? You think it'll be good or bad for the game?
Well, by the way, I love having the tables turned on me. That was a Q. Now I'm the A as opposed to the Q&A. Harrison, I appreciate the table turn right there. I'm genuinely concerned that the intention of this rule, which is to make sure an NFC Championship game gaffe does not happen again, the issue is that replay allows anything that is reviewable to be reviewed once replay is opened. And no fan is expecting to see if Harrison Smith has committed defensive pass interference, but we find out that the receiver is actually pushed off. And now suddenly there's offsetting penalties as by rule through replay, or a switch. It's not defensive. It's just offensive, not defensive.
Oh, and I think, that's not happening. Come on.
I don't know, man.
No way. No way that's happening.
Harrison, I'm telling you, I would say that this is entirely possible to happen. 12 men on the field, for instance. Okay, Harrison, as you know, here's a good example. Aaron Rodgers. He likes to quick snap when perhaps one of your teammates gets off the field a little bit slower than needs to be. And so let's just say Mike Zimmer says, you know what, I think I ought to only 11 men on the field. And that quick snap that led to a pass breakup down the field, there was no free play there. So I'm going to throw a challenge flag to see where there's 11 or 12 men on the field. It comes back that there were 11 men on the field. But at the end of the play, let's just say, I'm just throwing a name out there, Xavier Rhodes committed defensive pass interference. So instead of it being saving 5 yards, you now get a spot foul. I mean, this is the sort of stuff that can absolutely happen, Harrison. That's my problem with it.
I believe that scenario. I'm just saying they're never going to overturn a defensive pass interference to an offensive.
Oh, so you're saying now that's a defensive player talking, is what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah.
No, they would say that
there's definitely going to be unintended consequences, though. Stuff that we can't even imagine.
Right. So that's my concern on all this front. But your point was well taken, though, about how last year the roughing the passer stuff got fixed, which means I guess the tweak will come when the Vikings earn a tie instead of a loss against the Green Bay Packers. Is that what you're saying, Harrison Smith?
Yeah. There's a couple of those calls in that game. Just one was more pronounced, I guess.
Okay. Because it came in, what we would call...
It was kind of a critical moment.
Hey, before I let you go, a lot of conversation about the NFC North quarterbacks and chugging beers, Harrison. Where does Kirk Cousins stand on this in this competition?
That's a good question. We should probably shore that up with him, but we're not gonna pressure him into that.
Okay.
I think it didn't go as well as some guys hoped it did for him.
Okay.
It sounded like a good idea.
Right.
But if you're not good at it, you probably should just leave it alone.
I know.
So,
Aaron couldn't.
I think we'll have to ask Kirk.
Well, could he? Is it a? Does he partake in a beer? Is that something that he does? Have you seen that?
You're gonna have to have him on the show and ask him.
Oh.
Maybe do a FaceTime, see if he can actually do it, if he's up for it.
So, but is there, let's put it this way then, do you think that there is a correlation between the ability for a quarterback to slam a beer and win football games? Do you think that there is a direct line in all of this?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not think it's correlated. No.
So that answers my question that Kirk Cousins does not slam a beer, is basically what you're saying.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't answer it, because maybe he does. I don't know.
Man.
Or maybe it's something else, like someone else said they do scotch.
Okay, that's true.
You never know what. It's drinker's choice.
It is. Aaron does look like he sips instead of slams.
Yeah, no, I bet he's got some fine scotch.
I'm sure he does. Harrison, I always appreciate our chats. I tell you,
good to be back on.
Right back at you. As I tell you every single time, I always appreciate the way you play football and your honesty here on the show.
I appreciate it, Rich.
You take care of yourself, Harrison. We'll chat down the line.
All right, likewise.
You got it. That's Harrison Smith, Viking safety, at Harry, Harri, Smith 22 on Twitter.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.